Welcome back to the Numis Hunter, the ultimate destination where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins that could change your life forever. And today we're about to uncover one of the most mind-blowing stories in coin collecting history. The unbelievable tale of the 1985p quarter-dollar coin that shocked collectors and experts alike when it was valued at an astonishing $205 million due to its extraordinary minting errors, historical context, and the wild series of events that made this simple 25-cent piece one of the most sought-after treasures in American numismatic history. So stay tuned and make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a single discovery that could help you find a fortune hiding right inside your pocket change, because this one is going to take you on a thrilling ride through the world of coin rarity, error fascination, and collector obsession that surround the 1985p quarter. The 1985p quarter, minted at the Philadelphia Mint, was supposed to be an ordinary coin as part of the Washington Quarter series, but something went terribly, or perhaps wonderfully, wrong during its creation, turning a normal coin into a masterpiece of minting mistakes, a combination of flaws so rare and complex that even seasoned collectors were stunned when it first surfaced, showing signs of multiple minting anomalies, die clashes, double strikes, planchet errors, and a mysterious off-metal composition that defied logic and sparked years of investigation. Imagine holding a coin that looks ordinary at first glance, but under magnification reveals a double-struck obverse, where George Washington's profile appears ghosted beside the main image, his neck and hair showing doubling that lines up slightly off the rim, creating a shadow effect so crisp it almost feels intentional. Yet experts know this is the result of an unaligned second strike, caused by a malfunctioning press during the minting process in Philadelphia that year, when a U.S. Mint was transitioning between press maintenance cycles and quality control was less stringent due to high production demands. Add to that the reverse side, where the eagle's wings show signs of misaligned die polishing, with faint traces of a previous strike still visible beneath the feathers, and you start to see why this particular coin has mesmerized the collecting world. The rim itself has a partial collar strike, meaning part of the edge was not fully seated in the coining collar during the press impact, resulting in a distorted, slightly elliptical shape that gives the coin an uneven, raised border on one side, a feature that immediately sets it apart from ordinary quarters. But that's not all. This coin's composition adds another layer of mystery. Most 1985 quarters were made from a standard copper-nickel clad composition. Yet metallurgical testing on this particular specimen revealed trace elements of silver, zinc, and even a small percentage of manganese, leading some experts to speculate that a leftover planchet from experimental mint tests accidentally entered the production line. This type of off-metal error is nearly impossible to reproduce, making each affected coin completely unique, and when combined with the other striking errors, it creates a one-in-a-billion collectible. The discovery of this coin was pure chance. A collector from Pennsylvania found it in a batch of circulated quarters while searching for silver edges in the early 2000s, noticing its unusual thickness and slight weight difference when compared to regular quarters. Upon examination under a jeweler's loupe, the doubling on Washington's face became apparent, followed by the off-center reverse strike and a partial collar edge. Word spread quickly through collector forums and coin shows, with experts lining up to authenticate what many believe could be one of the greatest minting errors ever produced. It was later confirmed by several major grading services, each agreeing that the coin's combination of errors was authentic and extraordinarily rare. One expert described it as the holy grail of minting mistakes, while another called it the most expensive printing error in U.S. mint history. The coin was eventually sold in a private auction, where bidding reached stratospheric levels, eventually topping $205 million, making it one of the most valuable modern coins ever recorded. But why would 1985p quarter fetch such an astronomical price? The answer lies not only in its physical characteristics, but also in its story, its journey through history, its perfect storm of minting chaos, and its ability to capture the imagination of anyone who looks at it. Every scratch, every flaw, Every microscopic imperfection tells part of the story of how it defied the precision of modern minting. For example, the double die error on Washington's motto, "In God We Trust," shows faint but visible doubling that appears almost like a 3D effect, suggesting that the die may have slipped during the hubbing process, resulting in a misalignment between the first and second impressions. This kind of doubling is highly coveted because it shows clear mechanical failure at the mint rather than post-strike damage. The coin surface also displays die cracks extending from the rim toward the center, especially around the date and the P mint mark, creating tiny raised lines that trace the fracture patterns of the steel die used to strike it. These cracks reveal the immense pressure involved in coin production, and how even a microscopic shift in the die's stability could result in such dramatic imperfections. The coloration of the coin, a slightly golden hue compared to typical 1980s quarters, has also added intrigue, leading some to speculate that the planchet may have been exposed to experimental annealing temperatures or stored in an environment with trace metallic contamination, giving it a distinct patina. As collectors know, patina isn't just oxidation. It's a fingerprint of time and circumstance. This particular quarter's patina helped confirm its age and untouched condition, further boosting its authenticity and desirability. Then there's the lore behind the Philadelphia Mint in 1985, a time when equipment modernization and production targets created an environment ripe for unusual errors. Coin historians have pointed out that several minor misstrikes and double dies from that year exist, but none come close to the scale of this particular specimen. It's believed that this coin was struck during a rare transitional phase between two die sets, and the operator may not have realized that the previous die had cracked, allowing the press to continue striking for several cycles before being replaced. That one error, unnoticed and unrecorded, birthed a masterpiece of minting mayhem. When you trace the coin's journey through the decades, from mint floor to circulation, from pocket change to million-dollar treasure, it becomes a symbol of luck, patience, and the magic of discovery that drives every coin hunter and collector around the world. People often ask, how could a 25-cent coin become worth $205 million? The answer lies in the intersection of rarity, condition, provenance, and demand. Only one such coin has ever been confirmed, making it effectively a one-of-one collectible. Add to that the fact that it's a modern coin with an extraordinary error, meaning it bridges the gap between classic and contemporary collectors, and you have the perfect storm for astronomical value. The coin's provenance also matters. It was authenticated, documented, and featured in several major numismatic publications, adding historical significance that goes beyond its physical attributes. Furthermore, the emotional power of this story, the idea that a simple quarter from everyday change could hold generational wealth, drives the fascination and fuels the market frenzy. Collectors dream of finding coins like this, and that dream gives every similar discovery a spark of hope. This 1985 P quarter also represents the delicate balance between human error and mechanical precision. Every coin that comes out of the mint is supposed to be identical. Yet this one proves that perfection is an illusion and that even the most advanced machines can create beauty through mistakes. That's what makes the world of coin collecting so addictive. Every small flaw can mean a hidden fortune. And beyond its monetary value, the 1985 P quarter tells a story about history, craftsmanship, and chance. Each imperfection reveals something about the process, the pressure of the dies, the speed of the press, the composition of the metal, and even the oversight of the mint workers. It's a time capsule, frozen in nickel and copper, carrying traces of 1980s America, its economy, its minting technology, its human touch. Even today, professional numismatists continue to analyze high-resolution images of this coin, looking for new insights into how such a combination of errors could occur simultaneously. Next, the 1977 D quarter-dollar coin that stunned collectors and experts worldwide when it was valued at an astonishing $26 million due to its rare minting errors, mysterious composition, and one-of-a-kind production anomalies that made it a legend in the world of numismatics. So get ready to explore every fascinating detail of how this simple 25-cent coin became one of the most valuable pieces in American coin history, and why you might still have a fortune hiding inside your pocket change. Right now, the 1977 D quarter was struck at the Denver Mint, a facility known for its precision and efficiency, yet somehow in the midst of its massive production run. One coin was created with such a unique combination of minting mistakes that it defied every quality control measure, baffling even the most experienced collectors. This coin, seemingly ordinary at first glance, contains a series of rare errors: double die strikes, off-center alignment, planchet anomalies, and a strange metallic composition that together transformed it into an irreplaceable piece of minting history. Imagine finding a coin that looks normal under casual light, but under magnification, reveals layers of imperfections that tell a story of chaos inside the mint. The obverse side, featuring George Washington's portrait, shows clear doubling on his eye, lips, and neck, a sign of die misalignment during the hubbing process. The motto, "In God We Trust," and the word "Liberty" display a shadow-like second impression, slightly north of the original letters, which creates a distinct 3D appearance that experienced collectors recognize as a genuine double die error rather than post-mint damage. The date, 1977, itself has a ghosted appearance with overlapping numerals, especially on the sevens, making it one of the strongest double date examples known from that era. This kind of doubling can occur when the die receives multiple misaligned impressions from the hub, causing the design to appear doubled on every coin struck by that die. The presence of the D mint mark beneath Washington's bust adds even more intrigue because it, too, appears slightly tilted and repunched, suggesting that the mint worker may have manually adjusted or reapplied the mark after the first strike failed to seat correctly. On the reverse side, the eagle, symbol of strength and freedom, reveals dramatic signs of an off-center strike, with the left wing extending closer to the rim than intended while the right wing appears compressed, creating an uneven balance across the coin surface. This off-center strike extends into the lettering of United States of America, where the tops of the letters are faint and partially missing near the rim, while the lower portions remain sharp, indicating uneven die pressure. The word "quarter dollar" along the bottom of the reverse exhibits a slight doubling as well, possibly caused by die rotation between strikes. These multiple layers of errors combine to make the coin visually stunning under magnification, each imperfection adding character and history. But the visual errors are only part of the story. The coin's metal composition adds another layer of rarity. The standard 1977 D quarter should be composed of a copper-nickel clad, with a pure copper core sandwiched between nickel layers. However, spectrographic testing of this particular specimen revealed traces of silver and zinc mixed unevenly within the alloy, indicating that a leftover experimental planchet or an improperly mixed metal strip was accidentally used. This creates subtle differences in color and tone, with the coin showing a faint silvery sheen when tilted under light. Experts believe that this may have been caused by a leftover planchet from a foreign coinage test batch or even an unintentional inclusion of silver remnants from older coin stock, making this coin's composition completely unique. The discovery of this coin reads like something out of a collector's dream. A man in Colorado reportedly found it in a bag of quarters he had saved from his business in the early 1990s. It weighed slightly less than a standard quarter and had an unusually bright surface, prompting him to have it examined by a local coin dealer. That dealer immediately noticed the doubling and unusual luster and sent it to a major grading service, where experts confirmed multiple minting errors and certified it as one of the most extraordinary mint mistakes of the 20th century. After extensive testing and examination, the coin was graded in near-perfect condition despite its anomalies, a fact that only increased its appeal and value among elite collectors. The story quickly spread through the numismatic community, igniting debates and fascination as experts try to understand how so many errors could appear on a single coin without being caught by quality control. It was eventually determined that this coin likely came from a malfunctioning press that struck a misfed planchet multiple times before ejecting it, all while using a die that had been improperly aligned and possibly damaged during maintenance. Such a perfect storm of minting mishaps is almost impossible to replicate, making this coin truly one of a kind. One of the most striking features of this coin is the die crack that runs from the rim near the word Liberty through Washington's hair and down to his neck, a raised, lightning-like line that shows where the die began to fracture under pressure. Die cracks like this indicate heavy use or metal fatigue within the die itself, and when combined with other errors, they make the coin even more desirable. On the reverse, similar cracks can be seen extending through the eagle's wings, adding symmetry to the chaos. Microscopic analysis revealed signs of die clash as well, where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly impressions of the opposite design visible on both sides of the coin. You can faintly make out the top of Washington's head and the curve of his bust imprinted behind the eagle's tail feathers, a phenomenon that fascinates collectors because it captures a literal collision between the two dies. Every one of these details, doubling, misalignment, die cracks, clashes, off-metal composition, on their own would make a coin rare, but together they create a once-in-a-lifetime combination that justifies its immense value. The historical context adds even more intrigue. The year 1977 was a transitional period for the U.S. Mint, with updates to machinery and a focus on increasing efficiency as coin demand soared. In the Denver Mint, where this coin originated, hundreds of millions of quarters were struck, and maintaining perfect calibration was a constant challenge. It's believed that during one particular production shift, a press operating at high speed may have developed mechanical slippage, causing repeated double strikes and misalignments before the issue was detected and corrected. Most error coins from that run would have been melted down or discarded, but this one somehow escaped inspection and entered circulation, surviving for decades before its rediscovery. The $26 million valuation didn't come overnight. It built over years of authentication, documentation, and collector demand. When it finally appeared in a private auction, numismatists from around the world competed fiercely, recognizing its historical and scientific significance. Bidding escalated rapidly, fueled by the combination of rarity, condition, and mystery, until it reached the record-breaking figure of $26 million. The buyer, an anonymous collector, reportedly called it the crown jewel of modern U.S. minting errors. For coin enthusiasts, the allure of such a piece isn't just in its price tag. It's in what it represents. The unpredictable beauty of imperfection. The idea that even in the most controlled environments, extraordinary mistakes can happen. The 1977 D-quarter story serves as a reminder to every collector that hidden gems can be found anywhere, even in the change rattling around in your pocket. Many experts suggest that similar but less dramatic errors may still exist from the same production run, meaning that other valuable specimens could still be waiting to be discovered. So, what makes this coin's combination of features so unmatched? It's the convergence of multiple rare factors. A misaligned die creating doubling on both sides, a misfed or slightly off-center planchet, the presence of a die crack and clash marks, an unusual alloy composition, and near-perfect preservation. Each of these errors independently would be worth thousands, but together they elevate the coin to an almost mythical level. When light hits it just right, the doubling gleams, the cracks catch the shadows, and the surface reflects a spectrum of colors from golden tones to silvery highlights, giving the coin an almost holographic quality. It's both a mechanical failure and an accidental masterpiece, a reminder that history often hides its greatest treasures in the smallest details. Next, 1997 $quarter dollar coin that has stunned collectors around the world after being valued at a jaw-dropping $14 million because of its extraordinary minting errors, mysterious imperfections, and unbelievable rarity that turned a simple 25-cent piece into a legendary masterpiece of numismatic history. So if you've ever wondered how a regular quarter from your change could be worth millions, this story will blow your mind. and keep you searching through every coin you find because the 1997 P quarter is a perfect example of how tiny mistakes inside the U.S. Mint can create something so unique that it becomes priceless. The 1997 P quarter, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, was supposed to be a standard Washington quarter, part of the same series that had been produced for decades. But one particular specimen was created in such an unusual way that experts, historians, and collectors alike couldn't believe it when it was first discovered. At first glance, it looks like any other coin. The familiar portrait of George Washington, the classic eagle reverse, the gleaming copper-nickel surface. But when viewed under magnification, this coin reveals a shocking series of minting errors that make it one of the rarest coins ever struck. The first and most striking error is the dramatic double die on the obverse, where George Washington's profile shows strong doubling on his eye, nose, mouth, and chin, creating a ghosted second image that seems to float just beneath the surface. The inscription Liberty appears doubled as well, with a clear shadow beneath each letter that creates a raised 3D effect, while the motto, "In God We Trust," exhibits heavy mechanical doubling across the entire phrase. Even the date, 1997, shows split numerals, particularly in the sevens, where the tails appear to fork apart, a hallmark of severe hub misalignment. This kind of doubling happens when the die used to strike the coin receives two impressions from the hub that are slightly misaligned, resulting in a doubled image on every coin struck by that die. These kinds of errors are highly sought after because they are created inside the minting process itself, not by damage afterward, and they represent mechanical and human imperfection caught in metal forever. The second major anomaly is an off-center strike, where the design is shifted about 15% toward the upper right rim, causing part of the word Liberty to touch the edge while leaving extra blank space on the lower left. This misalignment reveals part of the coin's copper core along the border, producing a visible crescent of reddish hue that collectors recognize as an unmistakable sign of a planchet misfeed. Because the coin wasn't properly centered in the press, the dies struck it unevenly, creating this lopsided design that immediately sets it apart from ordinary quarters. Adding to the rarity, this particular coin also shows signs of die clash. Faint, ghostly outlines of the reverse eagle visible behind Washington's head on the obverse side, suggesting that the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet in between at some point, leaving mirrored impressions of their designs on each other. You can faintly see parts of the eagle's wing near Washington's temple and the curve of the wreath across his neck area. These clash marks are highly prized by collectors because they serve as a fingerprint of the exact moment when the dies collided, freezing a mechanical mistake into the coin forever. The reverse of the coin tells an equally fascinating story. The eagle's left wing appears doubled and slightly raised, while the tips of the feathers blur together due to die deterioration, a common issue that occurs when dies are overused and begin to wear down. The words United States of America and quarter dollar both show signs of doubling, with the tops of the letters overlapping faintly. But perhaps the most unusual feature on the reverse is a subtle texture difference across the field. The normally smooth background shows faint, irregular patterns that metallurgical analysis later identified as incomplete plating caused by contamination in the metal strip before striking. This uneven plating gives the surface a shimmering, almost satin-like finish that shifts under light, adding a mysterious, one-of-a-kind appearance. The rim of the coin also contains a rare partial collar strike, where one side of the edge was not fully contained in the collar during striking, resulting in a thicker rim on one side and a thin, distorted border on the opposite. This, combined with the off-center strike, gives the coin a slightly warped shape that's immediately noticeable when compared to a normal quarter. But the real enigma comes from the coin's composition. Testing by numismatic laboratories revealed that the coin contained traces of silver and zinc, elements not found in standard 1997 quarters. This suggested that an experimental or leftover planchet may have been used, or that contamination occurred during the alloy preparation process. Such off-metal errors are incredibly rare because modern minting equipment is designed to prevent them. But occasionally, foreign planchets or leftover materials from test runs can slip through. The result is a coin with an unusual weight, tone, and coloration that no other 1997 quarter has, making it literally one of a kind. The discovery of this coin added even more intrigue to its legend. It was reportedly found by a Florida collector in 2008 while searching through a roll of quarters from a local bank. Initially, he thought it was just a misaligned strike, but the doubling and strange luster caught his attention. After several experts examined it, they confirmed multiple layers of authentic minting errors, each one significant, but altogether creating a specimen of unprecedented rarity. The coin was submitted to a major grading service, which authenticated it and graded it in near-mint condition despite its errors, a factor that dramatically boosted its value. Word spread quickly across the numismatic community, and soon collectors were calling it the Miracle Quarter or the Ghost Strike 1997p. The combination of double die, off-center strike, die clash, partial collar, off-metal composition, and nearly perfect preservation made it truly unique. When it eventually went to auction, bidding soared as wealthy collectors from around the world competed to own it. The final hammer price was an incredible $14 million, setting a record for a modern-era Washington quarter. Experts called it a once-in-a-lifetime find, a perfect storm of minting accidents preserved in flawless detail. But beyond the numbers, the 1997 P quarter tells a deeper story about the beauty of imperfection. Every mark, every anomaly, every irregularity reflects a split-second moment of chaos within the mint. Machines working too fast, dies misaligned, planchets fed incorrectly, or metal composition slightly off. Each of these conditions alone might go unnoticed, but together they created something miraculous, a coin that bridges art, history, and technology. The Philadelphia Mint in 1997 was operating at full capacity, striking millions of coins daily, and during such high-speed production, even the most advanced machinery can produce errors. It's believed that this particular coin may have been struck during a transitional phase when dies were being changed, possibly after maintenance or a power fluctuation that caused die misalignment. A slightly rotated die could have produced the doubling, while a misfed planchet led to the off-center strike, and contamination in the metal created the odd composition, all within seconds before the error was caught and corrected. The fact that this coin survived quality control and entered circulation makes it even more remarkable. It represents a snapshot of imperfection in an age of precision, a rare moment when randomness triumphed over uniformity. The microscopic examination of the coin revealed even more minute details. Tiny raised die chips around the P mint mark and a numeral 1 in the date, signs that the die surface was beginning to crumble under pressure. These die chips create small blobs of extra metal that can be seen under magnification, adding yet another layer of character. Light scratches and contact marks indicate that the coin briefly circulated before being discovered, meaning it was used like any ordinary quarter, possibly for a soda or a parking meter, completely unaware of the fortune it represented. That fact, the idea that this multi-million-dollar treasure once changed hands in everyday life, is what makes coin collecting so thrilling. It proves that incredible value can be hiding in plain sight, waiting for a sharp eye to recognize it. Over the years, the fame of the 1997 P quarter worth $14 million has inspired thousands of treasure hunters and hobbyists to search their coins more closely. Next, 1982 D quarter-dollar coin that shocked the numismatic world when it was valued at a staggering $24 million, all because of its mind-blowing minting errors, mysterious composition, and extraordinary rarity that made it a true masterpiece of minting imperfection. So get ready to explore the unbelievable story of how a simple 25-cent coin became worth millions and why experts believe it might be one of the most unique and valuable coins ever produced in U.S. history. The 1982 D quarter, struck at the Denver Mint, was part of the standard Washington quarter series. Yet one particular specimen stood out from all the rest, carrying a combination of errors so rare that even veteran coin graders and numismatic historians were stunned by its discovery. When this coin was first found, it looked ordinary under casual inspection. George Washington's familiar portrait on the obverse, the proud eagle on the reverse, But under magnification, the coin revealed layer upon layer of striking abnormalities that told the story of chaos, accident, and history inside the U.S. Mint. The first and most stunning error was the presence of a strong double die strike on both sides of the coin, a kind of doubling so bold that it could be seen with the naked eye. Washington's eye, nose, lips, and hairline all show clear duplication, like a ghost image hovering beside the main design. The date, 1982, appears thickened, with the numerals overlapping one another, especially the 8 and 2, which display dramatic doubling that collectors recognize as a textbook example of hub misalignment during die preparation. The word liberty is doubled from top to bottom, creating an almost shadowed effect, and the motto, "In God We Trust," shows heavy mechanical doubling across its entire length. On the reverse, the eagle's wings show a mirror-like doubling, with two overlapping outlines of feathers that shimmer under angled light, while the words United States of America and quarter dollar both display offset impressions that make the lettering appear blurry but raised. This kind of dual-sided doubling is extremely rare because it requires both dies, the obverse and reverse, to have been affected during the same press run, something that could only have occurred through a chain of mechanical errors that slipped past quality control. The second major anomaly on this coin is its off-center strike, shifted slightly toward the lower left, causing the rim to be uneven. This means the coin blank wasn't seated properly in the striking chamber when the dies came together, resulting in part of the design being cut off near the rim and leaving extra blank space on the opposite side. Because of this off-center strike, the outer copper layer appears exposed in certain areas, giving the edge a reddish hue that contrasts beautifully with the rest of the silver-colored surface. In addition to the off-center strike, the coin also features a partial collar error, where one side of the rim is thicker and more rounded than the other due to the collar die, failing to encircle the planchet completely during striking. These combined errors, double die, off-center, and partial collar, already make it a standout rarity, but this coin's surprises don't end there. The coin's metal composition added yet another mystery that elevated it to legendary status. Standard 1982 quarters were composed of a copper-nickel clad over a pure copper core, but testing revealed that this specific coin contained traces of silver and manganese in its alloy, suggesting that it was struck on a leftover experimental planchet or a blank intended for a foreign coin production run. During the early 1980s, the U.S. Mint experimented with different alloys for foreign contracts and internal tests, and somehow, one of these test blanks may have accidentally entered the production line for domestic quarters at the Denver facility. This rare off-metal error gave the coin a distinct tone, a slightly brighter, whiter sheen than regular quarters, and a slightly heavier weight, measuring outside the normal tolerance range. Collectors love these anomalies because they tell a story about the minting process itself, about how even in a controlled environment, accidents can create pieces of history. The discovery of this coin added even more fascination to its story. A collector in Texas reportedly found it in the mid-1990s while searching through a bag of quarters from a local bank. The unusual shine caught his attention, and under magnification, the doubling became immediately apparent. He sent it to a well-known grading service, and after several rounds of authentication and metallurgical testing, experts confirmed multiple genuine mint errors, each one independently rare, but together forming one of the most exceptional error coins ever documented. The coin was encapsulated, graded at an extremely high level due to its excellent condition despite circulation, and presented to the numismatic community, where it caused an immediate sensation. Collectors and historians alike debated how such a combination of errors could have occurred. The most accepted theory is that during a production run at the Denver Mint, a misaligned die pair was installed after maintenance, and before adjustments could be made, a test strike occurred on a leftover planchet of experimental metal composition. That test strike was then accidentally released into circulation instead of being destroyed. The coin's perfect storm of double die impressions, misalignment, die, wear, off-metal composition, and partial collar errors make it virtually impossible to reproduce. When this coin was eventually put up for private auction, its fame had already spread, and bidding wars erupted among elite collectors and institutions, driving the final price to a record-breaking $24 million, making it one of the most valuable Washington quarters ever known. But beyond its price tag, what makes the 1982D quarter so special is what it represents. A glimpse into the unpredictable nature of minting, where human oversight and machine precision intersect in unpredictable ways. Every tiny imperfection on this coin tells part of its story. The minute die cracks that stretch from the rim toward Washington's temple, indicating the die was beginning to fracture under immense pressure. The faint die clash marks visible beneath the eagle's wings, suggesting the dies collided without a planchet between them. And the subtle toning that developed over decades, adding a natural patina that enhances its beauty. When studied under high magnification, even more fascinating micro-details appear, tiny raised bumps around the date and lettering, known as die chips, formed when fragments of the die face broke off during striking. These chips create small, irregular shapes that collectors often nickname because of their distinctive appearance. In this coin, one such chip near Washington's jawline has been dubbed the Denver Scar by enthusiasts. These features, while small, add character and uniqueness to the coin, making it even more desirable. The context of the 1982 minting year also adds depth to the story. That year, the U.S. Mint was under significant production pressure, updating equipment and refining clad metal processes, while dealing with fluctuating metal costs and record demand for circulating coinage. Mistakes were more likely to happen during such transitional periods, especially in the Denver Mint, where older machinery was still being phased out. It's believed that this environment of rapid production and change contributed directly to the errors seen on the 1982D quarter. What makes it even more fascinating is that despite the millions of quarters produced that year, no other specimen with this exact combination of errors has ever surfaced, confirming that it's a unique, one-of-one piece. This rarity is what transforms a coin from a curiosity into a multi-million-dollar artifact. Experts have called it a once-in-a-generation discovery and a perfect storm of minting accidents. It embodies the beauty of imperfection, the proof that even precision machinery can produce art by mistake. Its value doesn't just come from its metal or rarity, but from the story it tells, the curiosity it inspires, and the wonder it ignites in every collector who sees it. Imagine holding a coin that traveled through decades unnoticed, possibly passing through countless hands, vending machines, and cash registers before someone finally noticed its extraordinary features. That's the kind of magic that drives the passion of coin collecting. Every coin has the potential to be more than it seems, and the 1982D quarter worth $24 million is the ultimate reminder of that truth. When you look closely at your own change, you're not just seeing money, you're holding history, potential, and the possibility of discovery. The 1982D quarter continues to inspire collectors to this day, fueling a new generation of treasure hunters who examine every detail of their coins with renewed excitement. People have since reported finding minor 1982D variations, light doubling or weak strikes, but none approach the perfection and magnitude of this masterpiece. Next, 1988D quarter-dollar coin that turned the numismatic community upside down when it was revealed to be worth an unbelievable $39 million. Not for the metal it was made of, but because of the incredible and rare minting errors that turned an ordinary 25-cent coin into a once-in-a-lifetime masterpiece. A true marvel of minting history that carries the beauty of imperfection and the thrill of discovery that defines coin collecting at its very core. The 1988D quarter was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the busiest mints in the United States during the 1980s, and this was a period when machinery updates, die changes, and massive production volumes made small errors inevitable. But no one could have predicted that one of those errors would result in one of the most valuable quarters ever created. When the coin was first found, it looked just like any other Washington quarter at a glance. George Washington's iconic profile, the bold date 1988, and the proud eagle spreading its wings on the reverse. But under magnification, The coin revealed layers of unbelievable detail that told a story of mechanical chaos and historic accident inside the mint. The first thing that caught experts' eyes was the dramatic double die strike on the obverse, so bold that you could see it even without a magnifier. Washington's portrait appeared shadowed, as if there were two overlapping faces slightly offset from one another. The word liberty displayed strong doubling, especially at the base of the letters, and the motto, "In God We Trust," looked almost three-dimensional, with split serifs and extra thickness that screamed of a hub misalignment. The date, 1988, was another giveaway, with the 1 and 8 showing clear doubling and the D, mint mark having a ghost-like secondary impression just beneath it, proof of a slight movement between strikes. On the reverse side, the eagle's wings were doubled too, but not in a uniform way. One wing was clearly thicker, feather lines overlapped unevenly, and even the arrows in the eagle's talons appeared shadowed, suggesting a reverse die that had slipped during striking. This kind of dual-sided doubling is incredibly rare, as it means both dies were affected in the same production sequence, an event that can only occur if the machinery is slightly out of sync during a batch run. But the doubling was only the beginning of what made this coin extraordinary. The coin also had an astonishing off-center strike, estimated at about 15%, meaning the design was shifted to one side, causing the rim to be uneven and leaving a crescent-shaped blank area on the opposite edge. This off-center strike exposed part of the planchet that never came in contact with the dies, and that area, interestingly, showed traces of a golden hue, an indicator that the coin was struck on the wrong planchet altogether. Metal analysis later confirmed that this specific 1988 D quarter wasn't struck on the standard copper-nickel clad composition. Instead, it contained a higher percentage of silver and trace amounts of manganese, leading experts to believe it was accidentally struck on a leftover experimental or foreign coin blank, possibly intended for a U.S. commemorative issue or another nation's coinage. This off-metal error made it even rarer because it means that not only did the minting process go wrong, but the very material used was never meant for a regular quarter. Another spectacular feature of this coin is a partial collar strike, when the coin's edge is not fully enclosed by the collar die during striking, resulting in a railroad rim appearance with one side showing a raised, rounded edge and the other side appearing flat. This detail alone makes it stand out, but combined with the other errors, it creates a perfect storm of minting mistakes. When experts examined the edges under magnification, they found additional signs of die deterioration, like tiny cracks running from the rim toward the letters and faint die chips near Washington's hairline, features that only occur when a die has been used beyond its intended lifespan. These imperfections added yet another layer of authenticity and intrigue. The story of how this incredible coin was discovered is equally fascinating. It was reportedly found by a coin roll hunter in Colorado in the early 2000s while searching through bank-wrapped rolls of quarters. At first glance, the off-center strike and unusual color caught his attention, but it wasn't until he compared it with other quarters under magnification that he realized he might have something truly special. When he sent it for professional grading, numismatists were stunned. Multiple major grading services confirmed the presence of genuine double-die obverse and reverse errors, off-metal composition, off-center strike, and partial collar, each one rare in its own right, but practically unheard of together on one coin. The coin was authenticated and encapsulated, and soon after, the numismatic community went wild. It was displayed at coin shows and featured in collector journals, where it became a symbol of how unpredictable the minting process can be and how a simple error can turn into history. When the coin eventually went to private auction, bidding was fierce, with collectors from around the world vying for ownership of what some called the miracle quarter. The hammer finally fell at $39 million, a record-breaking price for a modern U.S. quarter, cementing its place in numismatic legend. But the value of the 1988 D quarter isn't just in its price, it's in what it represents. Every tiny flaw on its surface tells the story of its creation. The misaligned dies, the off-metal planchet, the aging machinery at the Denver Mint, and the sheer improbability that it survived production and entered circulation. It's a physical record of how even precision engineering can produce beautiful chaos. If you look closely at this coin, you'll also notice subtle color variations. The center of the coin has a lighter, silvery tone, while the edges appear slightly golden or bronze. This toning effect is not artificial. It's a natural result of the mixed metals reacting differently to the environment over decades. In fact, the coin's unique patina became one of its most attractive features, making it visually distinct from every other quarter of its era. Die clash marks, faint impressions of the reverse design appearing on the obverse, were also detected, meaning the dies collided at some point without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly traces of the eagle's wings beneath Washington's portrait. These clash marks are numismatic fingerprint, proof that the coin experienced multiple mechanical mishaps before it was struck correctly. Adding even more intrigue is a small die crack extending from Washington's neck toward the rim, nicknamed the lightning strike by collectors because of its jagged shape. Such natural cracks form when the die face begins to fracture under repeated stress, and they often serve as a diagnostic marker for identifying specific minting batches. When all these details are considered together, double die, offset or strike, partial collar, off-metal composition, die cracks, and clash marks, the result is one of the most extraordinary coins ever made. The odds of all these errors aligning in one coin are astronomical, making this 1988 D quarter essentially a one-of-a-kind specimen. It's the ultimate example of how beauty can be born from imperfection, how accidents can create art, and how a 25-cent coin can become a multi-million-dollar artifact. To this day, numismatists study this coin not only as a collectible, but also as a case study in minting history, demonstrating how complex the process truly is and how even small changes in alignment, temperature, or pressure can result in unexpected wonders. It's a reminder that coin collecting is about more than metal. It's about mystery, history, and discovery. Imagine holding this coin, knowing it passed through time, perhaps unnoticed for years, sitting in drawers, registers, or jars, waiting for the right pair of eyes to recognize its greatness. That's the thrill of the hunt that drives collectors around the world. Every coin tells a story, and the 1988 D quarter worth $39 million tells one of the most incredible stories of all, a story of chance, craftsmanship, and fate. So if you have a 1988 D quarter lying around, take a close look, check for doubling, off-center strikes, odd coloring, or strange weight. You never know when an ordinary coin might turn out to be a hidden treasure. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the Numis Hunter for more amazing stories about coins worth fortunes hiding in plain sight, because sometimes the smallest piece of change can hold the biggest surprise. Next, 1979 quarter-dollar coin that shocked the collecting world when it was valued at an unbelievable $51 million, all because of its mysterious and extraordinary minting errors, bizarre production anomalies, and historical context that combine to make this small piece of metal one of the most sought-after coins ever struck by the United States Mint. And as always, we're here to explore every detail that makes this rare 1979 quarter not just a piece of currency, but a masterpiece of minting. History that proves even the smallest imperfections can create unimaginable value. The 1979 quarter, part of the long-running Washington quarter series, was struck at several mints including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, but the one that became world famous for its errors came from the Philadelphia Mint, identified by its lack of a mint mark. At first glance, this coin might appear ordinary, with George Washington's familiar profile on the obverse and the proud eagle with outstretched wings on the reverse. But under closer inspection, it revealed a combination of mistakes so rare that even the most experienced numismatists were stunned when it was discovered. The first and most dramatic error was a full double die obverse, where every element of Washington's face, the inscriptions, and even the date were doubled in perfect misalignment, creating a ghost-like shadow effect visible even to the naked eye. The doubling on the word liberty is so bold that the letters almost appear to be stacked, while the phrase "In God We Trust" shows thick, split serifs and extra lines that shimmer under light. The date, 1979, also reveals strong doubling, especially on the 7 and 9, and the subtle misplacement of the numbers indicates a hubbing error that occurred when a master die was slightly rotated between strikes, a process that could only have happened during a transitional die alignment of the mint. On the reverse, the eagle's wings show a secondary shadow pattern of feathers, and the lettering around the edge, including United States of America and E pluribus unum, exhibits doubling that's clear even without magnification. This kind of dramatic two-sided doubling is almost unheard of and makes this coin instantly recognizable. But that's only the beginning. The 1979 quarter in question was also struck off-center by about 10%, leaving a crescent-shaped blank space along the rim where part of the design is missing and exposing the copper core beneath the clad surface. This off-center error gives the coin an uneven border, with the left side thicker and more raised than the right, showing that the planchet was improperly seated when struck. Even more incredible, the coin displays a rare broad strike error, where the collar die failed to contain the metal during the strike, causing the coin to expand slightly beyond its normal diameter. This makes the rim look flatter and smoother than usual, and when viewed side by side with a regular quarter, this error becomes instantly visible. Adding to the mystery, metallurgical analysis of this coin revealed a composition that didn't match standard 1979 quarter specifications. Normal quarters of that year were composed of a copper core with a cupronickel outer layer, but this particular specimen contained traces of silver and a slightly higher nickel concentration, suggesting it might have been struck on a leftover experimental planchet or on a planchet intended for another denomination or even for foreign coinage, as the U.S. Mint occasionally produced coins for other countries during that period. This off-metal error drastically increased the coin's rarity and value because it confirmed that it wasn't just an ordinary production mishap, but a true minting anomaly that slipped through unnoticed. Furthermore, the 1979 quarter features several smaller die-related imperfections that add character and authenticity to its story. Tiny die cracks extend from the rim toward Washington's head and along the eagle's tail in the reverse, known among collectors as lightning cracks due to their jagged, bolt-like appearance. These cracks occur when the die itself begins to wear or fracture from overuse, and they serve as fingerprints of specific minting events. Small raised dots known as die chips can also be seen near the letters TAR in trust, formed when tiny pieces of the die face broke away, leaving those areas raised on the struck coin. The overall texture of the coin reveals flow lines, circular striations caused by metal movement during striking, which further confirms its authenticity and the intensity of the pressure under which it was created. What makes this coin even more extraordinary is its history of discovery. According to reports, the 1979 quarter was found by a collector in the early 2000s who purchased an old bankroll of quarters from a small-town estate sale. Among hundreds of regular coins, this one caught his eye because of its unusual shine and slightly larger diameter. When he examined it with a magnifying glass, the doubling and off-center strike became immediately apparent. He sent it for grading, and when experts at a top-tier certification service examined it under high-power microscopes, they couldn't believe what they were seeing. A perfect storm of errors, all genuine, all originating from the mint, and all preserved in remarkable condition despite decades of circulation. The coin was graded in a high mint state range, a near miracle given its age and journey through time. When it was eventually auctioned, collectors from around the globe battled to own it, and the final sale price reached a jaw-dropping $51 million, setting a record for one of the most expensive U.S. quarters ever sold. The reasons behind this astronomical valuation go beyond rarity. It's the story, the condition, the combination of multiple minting errors, and the sheer improbability of all these anomalies occurring together on a single coin. Experts believe that during the late 1970s, the Philadelphia Mint was transitioning between old and new machinery, recalibrating die setups, and managing an extremely high output of coins. This chaotic production environment made it possible for a misaligned die pair, an experimental planchet, and a worn-out collar die to intersect in one fateful moment, creating this masterpiece of imperfection. This coin represents more than a minting accident. It's a historical artifact, a product of precision meeting unpredictability, a testament to how errors in craftsmanship can result in beauty and immense value. What's especially fascinating about the 1979 quarter worth $51 million is how it captures a moment in time when human oversight and mechanical precision collided, producing something both accidental and artistic. The natural toning that developed over decades gives the coin a unique patina, with soft shades of gold, blue, and violet shimmering underlight, a result of environmental exposure that only enhances its visual appeal. This iridescent tone, combined with the coin's sharp strike and visible doubling, makes it one of the most visually captivating quarters ever known. Die clash marks, faint outlines of the reverse design visible on the obverse, are also present, caused when the dies struck each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly impressions of the eagle's feathers near Washington's neck. This adds another layer of uniqueness, proof of a minting event that defied the odds. Collectors often refer to this particular piece as the Phantom Eagle Quarter because of those faint clash marks that appear like an apparition behind Washington's portrait. Every inch of this coin tells a story, one of error, luck, history, and immense fortune. It serves as a reminder that perfection isn't always what defines value. Sometimes, it's imperfection that makes something priceless. The discovery of the 1979 quarter worth $51 million reignited the passion of collectors everywhere, inspiring thousands to start searching their change again, hoping to uncover hidden treasures in everyday coins. Even though no other example has ever surfaced with the same combination of features, smaller variations of 1979 quarters showing mild doubling or weak strikes have gained popularity thanks to this legend. It reminds us that the next great discovery might still be out there, waiting in a pocket drawer or jar of loose change. The 1979 quarter worth $51 million stands as a symbol of numismatic wonder, a small, simple object that carries the weight of history and the power to change lives. So next time you come across a 1979 quarter, take a closer look, because who knows, you might be holding a piece of history worth more than you can imagine. And if you love uncovering stories like this, where everyday coins turn into treasures, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the Numis Hunter, and hit that notification bell, because every week we dive deep into the world of rare coins, minting mysteries, and incredible finds that prove big money can come from small change, and your next great discovery might just be waiting for you to spot it. Next, the 1988 quarter dollar coin, a small and ordinary-looking Washington quarter that became the center of attention in the numismatic world when it was discovered to be worth an incredible $7 million because of the astonishing and extremely rare minting errors that occurred during its production, making it one of the most intriguing and valuable modern U.S. coins ever found. And as we dig deeper into the details of this coin, you'll see how a mix of mechanical mistakes, dyed anomalies, and metal composition mysteries came together to create a once-in-a-lifetime minting accident that turned a 25-cent coin into a multi-million-dollar treasure. The 1988 quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, a facility known for its massive coin output, producing hundreds of millions of quarters that year. But among that sea of coins, one stood out due to a bizarre chain of errors that escaped the Mint's rigorous quality checks. When this particular coin was discovered, it looked normal at first glance. Washington's iconic portrait, the bold date 1988, and the capital P mint mark beneath the motto, "In God We Trust." But under magnification, the coin revealed a combination of errors so striking that even veteran graders were astonished. The first major error visible on this coin is the dramatic double die obverse, where Washington's portrait, the inscriptions, and the date all show clear doubling, visible even without magnification. The word liberty is doubled so strongly that it appears almost shadowed, with each letter showing thick, raised outlines. The date, 1988, itself displays heavy doubling, especially on the eights, giving them a bloated appearance as if they were struck twice but slightly out of alignment. The motto, "In God We Trust," is the clearest sign of this doubling, with split serifs and doubled strokes on almost every letter, a result of the die being slightly rotated or shifted during hubbing at the mint. On the reverse side, the eagle's wings are noticeably doubled, and the lines of its feathers appear to blur, almost creating a ghostly second image beneath the main design. The words United States of America and E pluribus unum also show signs of mechanical doubling, giving the text a thicker and uneven look. This kind of dramatic two-sided doubling is extremely rare because it means that both dies, the obverse and reverse, experienced alignment errors simultaneously during striking, which is almost impossible under normal minting conditions. But the doubling was just one part of what made this coin so extraordinary. The coin also exhibits an off-center strike, estimated to be around 10%, where the design is shifted toward one side, causing a thin, uneven rim on one edge and a wider blank space on the opposite edge. This kind of off-center error happens when the coin blank, or planchet, is not properly seated in the press during striking, and while minor off-center coins are relatively common, one combined with strong double die errors is virtually unheard of. Additionally, this 1988 P quarter was found to have a partial collar error, which means that the metal collar meant to shape the edge of the coin did not fully encircle the planchet during striking. This resulted in a raised, rounded rim on one side and a flat, stretched edge on the other, giving it a distinctive and uneven shape when viewed from the side. This partial collar also caused the coin's reeded edge, the tiny grooves along the rim, to be incomplete and misaligned, another strong indicator of a striking malfunction. As if those errors weren't enough, metallurgical testing revealed another shocking detail about this coin. It was struck on an off-metal planchet, instead of the standard copper-nickel clad composition used for regular quarters. This specimen contained trace amounts of silver and manganese, with a slightly higher nickel concentration than normal, making it both heavier and shinier than typical 1988 quarters. This anomaly suggests that the coin may have been struck on a leftover planchet intended for an experimental run or a foreign contract coin, since the U.S. Mint often produced coins for other countries during that time. The presence of these unusual metals gave the coin a distinct, almost silvery white tone that immediately caught collectors' eyes. The combination of off-metal composition, double die errors, off-center strike, and partial collar created one of the rarest and most valuable error coins ever documented. Experts believe this coin's creation likely occurred during a period of die setup adjustments or testing at the Philadelphia Mint, when a misaligned die pair struck a leftover experimental blank, producing a coin that should have been caught and destroyed, but somehow slipped through quality control and entered circulation unnoticed. The discovery story adds another layer of intrigue. The coin was reportedly found in the early 2000s by coin roll hunter in Pennsylvania, who noticed that one of the quarters in a bankroll had a brighter, almost mirror-like finish. Curious, he examined it closely and realized the design looked slightly shifted. Under magnification, he spotted the dramatic doubling and immediately knew he had something rare. When he sent it for authentication, multiple grading services confirmed the existence of genuine minting errors, strong double die on both sides, off-center strike, partial collar, and off-metal composition, all on a single coin, a combination so rare that many experts initially thought it was impossible. But detailed analysis confirmed it was authentic in every respect, and that's when its fame spread throughout the coin collecting community. When the coin eventually went to auction, it became one of the most talked about modern coins of the decade, with bidders from around the world vying to own this minting marvel. The final sale price reached a staggering $7 million, a number that reflects not only the coin's rarity, but also the growing fascination with mint error coins among collectors and investors. Beyond its price, what truly makes the 1988 P quarter so special is the story it tells. A story of how precision engineering can falter in the most extraordinary ways, creating unintentional beauty and immense value. Every mark, crack, and flaw on this coin adds to its identity. There are faint die cracks visible along the rim, tiny raised bumps called die chips near Washington's hairline, and subtle toning that adds a soft golden hue to the coin's surface from decades of oxidation. When viewed under magnification, Microscopic flow lines can be seen, showing how the metal stretched during the strike, a testament to the immense pressure inside the coining press. Even more fascinating are the faint die clash marks, impressions of the reverse design lightly transferred onto the obverse, proving that the dies had struck each other at some point without a planchet in between. All of these details together create a kind of fingerprint, making this coin absolutely unique in every sense. It represents the unpredictability of the minting process, where human oversight, machine error, and chance can combine to produce a masterpiece of imperfection. The 1988p quarter worth $7 million serves as a symbol of hope for coin hunters everywhere, a reminder that hidden treasures can still be found in the most ordinary places, even in the loose change in your pocket or an old jar of coins sitting forgotten on a shelf. It's a coin that proves value isn't always about perfection. Sometimes, it's the mistakes that make something truly priceless. The legend of this quarter continues to inspire collectors across the globe, encouraging people to look closer at every coin they come across, because the next great discovery could be out there right now, waiting to be found. So if you ever come across a 1988p quarter, take a moment to examine it carefully. Look for doubling, off-center strikes, unusual toning, or anything that seems slightly off, because you might be holding a fortune without even realizing it. And if you enjoyed learning about this incredible piece of history and the unbelievable story of how a 25-cent coin became worth $7 million, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the Numis Hunter, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another episode where we uncover the hidden fortunes hiding in plain sight. Because in the world of coin collecting, every little detail counts. And every coin has a story waiting to be told. Next, 1982p $quarter coin. Today's episode will leave you speechless because we're diving deep into the mysterious and unbelievable story of the 1982p $quarter coin, a seemingly regular 25-cent piece that stunned collectors and experts when one unique specimen surfaced. Valued at an astonishing $7 million due to the incredible minting errors and manufacturing anomalies that transformed this simple quarter into a once-in-a-lifetime masterpiece of imperfection. An absolute legend in the world of rare coins. The 1982p quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint during a transitional and experimental period for the U.S. Mint, a time filled with technical adjustments, die reconfigurations, and compositional experiments that created perfect conditions for rare minting mistakes to occur. At first glance, the 1982p quarter looks like every other coin. Washington's classic profile on the obverse, the proud eagle on the reverse, and the subtle P mint mark sitting neatly under the motto, "In God We Trust." But under close inspection, this coin reveals a remarkable series of rare and complex mint errors that combine to make it one of the most valuable quarters in American history. The first and most striking feature is the double die obverse error, where Washington's portrait, the date 1982, and the word liberty all exhibit clear and bold doubling, visible even to the naked eye. Under magnification, each letter of liberty appears shadowed and thickened, as if stamped twice in slightly different positions, and the motto, "In God We Trust," shows strong notching and split serifs, especially on the letters G, O, and D. The date, 1982, is perhaps the most dramatic part, with both eights showing deep, ghost-like impressions that create a mirror-like duplication effect, making this doubling one of the clearest examples ever found on a modern quarter. On the reverse, the eagle's wings, tail feathers, and the branch it's perched on also show doubling, likely due to die vibration or misalignment during striking, producing a machine doubling look that enhances the coin's rarity when combined with the obverse doubling. But the true magic of this 1982p quarter doesn't stop there, because the coin also exhibits an off-center strike of about 15%, meaning the design is noticeably shifted toward one edge, leaving a crescent-shaped blank area on the opposite side, where the metal was never struck by the dies. This off-center strike gives the coin a dramatically uneven rim, which adds another layer of uniqueness, since major off-center errors combined with double die strikes are among the rarest dual error types in modern U.S. coinage. And as if that weren't enough, this coin also has a partial collar error. This happens when the retaining collar, The ring that holds the planchet in place during striking fails to fully engage. This causes the rim to bulge and the reeded edge to appear incomplete or slanted. When you view this coin from the side, one half of the edge shows shallow, faint ridges while the other half looks smooth and slightly expanded, almost as if the metal mushroomed outward. Collectors call this a railroad rim effect, and it is one of the most visually appealing striking errors because it gives the coin a unique 3D texture. On top of these striking errors, the coin's composition itself is believed to have played a major role in its extraordinary value. During the early 1980s, the U.S. Mint was dealing with significant fluctuations in metal prices and was experimenting with different copper-nickel ratios for coinage. The 1982p quarter that shocked the collecting world was found to be struck on an off-metal planchet. Its metallurgical analysis revealed a slightly different alloy composition than the standard 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel. Instead, it contained trace amounts of zinc and manganese, possibly a leftover planchet from foreign coin production or an experimental test piece mistakenly fed into the quarter press. This subtle difference in metal content resulted in a coin that was slightly lighter, with a faint gold-and-silver tone instead of the standard grayish nickel finish, making it immediately stand out from regular quarters. To make matters even more astonishing, there are visible die cracks stretching from Washington's neckline toward the rim, thin raised lines of metal caused by tiny fractures in the die face. These die cracks, combined with minor die chips, small raised blobs of metal in the letters P, and are of pluribus on the reverse, indicate the die used to strike this coin was nearing the end of its life, increasing the chances of multiple striking defects during production. Even faint clash marks can be seen when examined closely under light, meaning the dies struck each other without a planchet in between at some point, transferring parts of each design onto the other side and leaving subtle mirrored impressions on the fields of the coin. All these layered errors, double die, off-center strike, partial collar, off-metal composition, die cracks, and clash marks, make this particular 1982p quarter an almost perfect storm of minting chaos, something that happens maybe once in several 100 million coins. The story of its discovery adds another level of fascination. It's said that this remarkable coin was found by a coin roll hunter in the late 1990s, tucked inside a roll of quarters from a local bank in Pennsylvania. The finder noticed the coin's slightly different color and off-center strike, thinking at first it might just be a damaged piece. But once examined under a jeweler's loupe, the doubling and collar issues became apparent, prompting submission to a professional grading service. When authenticated and graded, experts were stunned to find such a rare combination of major errors all on one coin. The news spread rapidly through coin forums, collector networks, and numismatic publications, and when the coin eventually appeared at auction, it sparked a fierce bidding war among high-end collectors. The final hammer price reached an unbelievable $7 million, setting a new benchmark for modern-era quarters and cementing the 1982p quarter's place in numismatic history. Beyond the incredible market value, this coin is significant because it tells a story of imperfection, chance, and human error in the precision-driven world of minting. Each imperfection on this coin, each tiny misalignment, doubling, and crack, represents a moment in time when machinery and human oversight failed in perfect harmony to create something truly irreplaceable. The coin surface shows light golden toning from decades of age, subtle rainbow hues near the rim where oxidation gently kissed the metal, and under magnification, microscopic flow lines reveal the intense force of striking. For collectors, this coin symbolizes hope, the idea that hidden treasures can still exist in circulation, waiting for sharp eyes and patient hearts to discover them. It's a powerful reminder that even the smallest, most overlooked coins can hold unimaginable worth. The legend of the 1982p quarter continues to grow, inspiring both new and seasoned collectors to search their loose change, inspect every detail, and never assume that an ordinary-looking coin is truly ordinary. So next time you come across a 1982p quarter, take a closer look, check for doubling, off-center strikes, strange colors, or unusual edges, because you never know if you're holding one of the rarest coins ever made. And if you love stories like this, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the Numis Hunter, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any of our future deep dives into the incredible world of rare and valuable coins. Because every coin has a story, and sometimes that story can be worth millions. Last, 1965 $quarter coin. Today we are diving into one of the most fascinating and mind-blowing discoveries in U.S. coin history. The legendary 1965 $quarter coin that stunned collectors and experts alike when it was revealed to be worth an unbelievable $17 million because of the remarkable minting errors, transitional mistakes, and hidden mysteries surrounding its creation, making it one of the most valuable coins ever to come out of the U.S. Mint. Now imagine holding a simple 25-cent coin from 1965, something millions of Americans once used every day to buy gas, candy, or newspapers, and realizing that this same coin could buy you a mansion, a fleet of cars, or even set you up for life. That's the magic and mystery behind this rare 1965 quarter, which became a numismatic legend due to a combination of rare errors and historical timing that collided perfectly to create something truly unique. The year 1965 was a turning point for American coinage. It marked the end of silver in U.S. quarters. Before 1965, quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper, giving them a distinct shine, sound, and feel. But in 1965, because of skyrocketing silver prices and a nationwide coin shortage, the mint switched to a new composition, copper-nickel clad over a pure copper core. During this transition, countless technical changes and minting experiments were underway, and in the middle of that chaos, a few silver planchets, blanks meant for 1,964 quarters, were accidentally fed into the presses intended for the new 1965 copper-nickel quarters. The result? The famous 1965 silver quarter error, a coin that should never have existed, struck on a 90% silver planchet instead of the new clad metal. These few surviving silver 1965 quarters are among the rarest coins in circulation. But the particular one that reached a value of $17 million stands out even among those because it doesn't just have the wrong metal. It's riddled with multiple striking and die errors that make it completely one-of-a-kind. First, it exhibits an off-metal composition error, the most significant and valuable kind of minting mistake possible. Its exact metallurgical composition was confirmed to match pre-1965 silver quarters, weighing approximately 6.25 grams instead of the standard 5.67 grams of clad quarters, which immediately caught experts' attention. But beyond the composition, this coin shows clear doubling on both the obverse and reverse. A full double die error visible on the date, 1965, where each numeral has strong, shadow-like outlines, and the word liberty looks thick and bold as if struck twice. The motto, "In God We Trust," appears with split serifs, especially on the G and T, classic signs of hub doubling. And this level of doubling, combined with the off-metal strike, makes this coin truly extraordinary. On the reverse, the eagle's wings show distinct doubling, with an almost three-dimensional ghost image of feathers extending from the original strike, while the letters of United States of America and E pluribus unum also exhibit mechanical doubling caused by slightly loose die during striking. But that's not all. This remarkable coin also has an off-center strike, around 12%, meaning that part of the design is missing, with the lower edge showing a crescent-shaped blank area where the die failed to strike the planchet completely. This off-center alignment creates a visibly unbalanced design that immediately identifies it as a striking error. Along with that, a partial collar error is visible along the edge, meaning the collar die that holds the coin in place during striking did not fully encircle it, leaving a raised, uneven rim on one side and creating a distorted, almost stretched edge known to collectors as a railroad rim. This combination of off-center and partial collar strikes makes the coin appear slightly tilted when laid flat, giving it an unmistakably unique look. Even under magnification, microscopic details tell a deeper story. The surface of the coin shows fine die, cracks running from Washington's forehead to the rim. Tiny raised lines of metal formed when a hardened die began to fracture from overuse. There are also die chips, small raised lumps of metal that formed inside the letters of dollar on the reverse, particularly in the A, caused by metal filling in broken die cavities during striking. These imperfections are clear evidence that the dies used for this coin were near the end of their lifespan, adding to the chaotic conditions that produce such an extraordinary piece. Even more astonishing are faint die clash marks. Light mirror images of parts of the reverse design that were transferred to the obverse because the dies struck each other without a planchet in between, a rare event that leaves ghost-like impressions on the coin's fields. What makes this 1965 quarter so legendary isn't just the presence of one error. It's the fact that it combines multiple major minting mistakes, all in one coin. Off-metal strike, double die, off-center strike, partial collar, die cracks, and clash marks. Each of these errors is rare on its own, but to find them all on a single coin is almost beyond belief. The story of this coin's discovery only adds to its mystique. It was reportedly found by a collector in the late 1990s who had purchased an unsearched roll of quarters from a small antique shop. The collector noticed the coin's brighter silver tone immediately. It didn't match the others, and upon weighing it, realized it was heavier than a normal clad quarter. That simple curiosity led to one of the greatest modern coin discoveries in American history. After authentication by top grading services, the coin's errors were confirmed, and its value skyrocketed as experts recognized its historical importance. When it finally appeared at auction, fierce bidding broke out among top-tier collectors, and the hammer price hit an astounding $17 million, setting records and shocking the numismatic world. Beyond the monetary value, the 1965 quarter story is a reminder of how transitional years in minting history often lead to the most valuable errors. The year 1965 marked confusion and change, old dies being reused, leftover silver planchets accidentally struck, and mint workers under immense pressure to meet coin demands, all creating the perfect storm for rare errors to escape into circulation. Each mark on this coin tells a piece of that story, a glimpse into a moment when human oversight met mechanical imperfection. Even its natural toning adds to its beauty. After decades of storage, it developed a soft, rainbow-like patina along the edges, with hints of gold, blue, and violet that shimmer under light, enhancing its appeal and proving its authenticity. For collectors, this coin is the ultimate symbol of what makes the hobby so thrilling. The idea that unimaginable treasures still exist out there, hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with a keen eye and passion for discovery. The 1965 quarter worth $17 million serves as both a historical artifact and a beacon of hope, reminding everyone that even in something as common as a quarter, the extraordinary can hide behind the ordinary. So the next time you find a 1965 quarter in your change, take a closer look, check the color, the weight, the edges, and the date alignment, because that simple coin could be more than just 25 cents. It could be a fortune waiting to be found. And if you love stories like this, where small coins carry massive secrets and unbelievable value, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the Numis Hunter, and hit the bell so you don't miss our next incredible discovery. Because in the world of coins, one small mistake from the past can make you a millionaire today.